Shan, welcome to Live from Bed.
Hello, I'm live from my office, so I don't feel like I fit the theme, but I'm always looking forward to going to bed. So I'm happy to do it with you today.
Right? I mean, that is the best part of the entire day is getting in bed.
My sister said this thing that I resonated very deeply with when I was pregnant with a 1-year-old, where she was like, I would just get up every day and look at my bed and just say, just get back here. Like, that's my only goal for the day. Just get back here.
That's my mantra. Like, that is truly my affirmation, my mantra. Like, I am like, okay, I just have to do this and then I can get back in bed. But I feel like I love talking to you about bed because I feel in some ways you are a bed professional. You know?
I am a
Bedroom
professional. Yes. I am a bedroom professional for sure. Absolutely. When it comes to having sex, whether that is in a bedroom or on top of a laundry machine or in your kitchen or by yourself in a hot tub, that is something I do know very well.
I think we can agree on that. We can make bed anywhere. Anywhere can be
Right.
bed. It's a state of mind. Intimacy in every form is something that I think we all struggle with in some capacity. But one thing that really stood out to me, and I've never heard it articulated in such a way that resonated with me so deeply, was that fuck boyfriend. I too am a fuck boyfriend. And I was like, I've never had a title for it. I've had, avoidant. I've had, whatever the word is. But you're talking about basically how, you make this connection, whether in person or like a spark flies, right? You meet someone that you want to be friends with. And then they inevitably text you, which I find horrifying, of course. But in theory, we're like ready for it, right? We're exchanging numbers. We're excited. Someone texts you and inevitably I don't respond. Whether it's about like making plans in the future, they're, offering a bit of connection, like whether they're sending me a video of a concert or they're sending me an outfit that they like, or should they buy this? And I don't respond to the bid. And I shoot myself in the foot every time. And I'm like, Jade, why? Even my friendships that I have, like sometimes I find trouble maintaining and keeping up with the conversation. And some people are so good about reaching out. So tell me what you mean by a fuck boyfriend.
Yeah, I think that exactly that. And I made that realization a year ago. And in that time, I've had to really embrace the radical inconvenience that comes with human connection. And when you're looking for connection, you have to also be looking for inconvenience. Like, you actively want to have to do things, to be beholden to someone, to have responsibilities that you currently don't have. So whether that is a romantic relationship or a friendship or a dog, I was actually just talking to my friend about something called puppy blues, wherein 7 out of 10 people who adopt a dog end up getting more sad after the dog and then returning it. So that's because like you have this expectation of like you envision the love and the connection and the laughter and like the good times you're going to have, but you don't acknowledge or recognize or account for the radical inconvenience that comes with caring for anything or anybody. So that's what it is when you're a fuck boy friend or a fuck boy dog owner. Essentially, you're just like really romanticizing what connection looks like without having an actual realistic perspective for it. And when you carve out space for said thing, friendship, dog, romantic partner, you're like carving out this very convenient section, and the section that someone isn't able to fit into that slot, you dismiss them altogether. So that's what I think I was referring to when I said that I was a fuckboy friend, because I was saying, I really want friendships. I really want friendships. Then people would be like, great, amazing. I'm actually having this luncheon next week. I'd love for you to come. And if you could come help set up early, that'd be amazing, because I'm like really struggling with thing. And then I'm like, or they send me a meme that I think is cool, but I don't necessarily have the time to respond to. And so it's like, I almost had to ask yourself the question of like, what did I even imagine? That's even an important thing. Like, what did I really mean when I said I wanted friends? Like, what did that look like? Because it seems like whatever people actually do to try to make that bid, it's too much for me. So that's when I realized I'm the problem.
I cannot relate more. That resonates with me so deeply because it's weird. Like, and you do get this disappointment in yourself or this resentment for yourself. You're like, okay, come on. Like, you wake up the next morning, whether maybe they texted you at 7 p.m. the night before, you wake up the next morning, you're like, shit, I didn't respond to that. And it was really something that like, I needed to respond to in that moment, like I needed to to engage. And I have friends who are such reacher outers, for like lack of better word, like they're like, oh, I called such and such the other day because I saw a shirt that reminded me of them. And I have all those human experiences, right? Like I'll see something that reminds me of a friend, but I don't act on it. Like I very rarely act on it. Like even like, oh, I was thinking of you. Oh, like this reminded me of you. Oh, remember our second grade teacher. Oh, remember whatever. And it's so frustrating. But then I saw this TikTok recently that was like, your nervous system sees connection as a demand, not a comfort. And I was like, oh, I think that's how I feel sometimes. Like, I think, like, oh, I'm going to feel comfort by having a friend. But then when the text message comes in, my nervous system goes, oh, demand, obligation, scary words, not like fun, connection, friendship. Do you feel like that?
That's a perfect way. I love that description. I think the truth is it's both, right?
Yeah.
But you can't get one without the other. I've been really exploring of late the idea of a new attachment style because we have, fearful, then we have fearful avoidant, then we have secure attachment, and then we have insecure or anxiously attached.
Right.
And I think that there's a new attachment style that's forming that's called algorithmic attachments, wherein people try to connect to people as if they themselves are AI. Like I build connections based off of what pleases me, what is trending, what I want to see in that moment, what I feel is capable for me. And also everything is based on the goal of productivity. Like I'm trying to produce as much as possible. I'm trying to be as productive as much as possible. So whatever gets me to the fastest result. And I really think that the more that humans try to pretend that they're AI or that they're robots, the more likely we are to be able to be replaced by them. So what a robot can't do, right? Like your Uber is able to, that's the reason why Uber is so important, right? Before Ubers existed, we had to make friends who were willing to pick us up from the airport. We had to make
Yes.
connections who are willing to do that. And we had to know that when we asked for that favor, we were essentially signing ourselves up for a future trip to the airport.
100%.
And then Uber came along and they're like, oh, you don't need to ask your friend anymore. We can do that for you. And we'll find you the fastest available person. And if that person's not available exactly when you want it, we'll find you somebody else quicker. And I think that a lot of us are entering into relationships with that same goal for convenience and productivity in mind. But the thing is, you'll never get the jokes that you would have gotten from your friend or the snack that they brought just for you because they know you very well. And they know that when you're hangry, you're not going to have a good drive home. They're not going to be able to be like, yo, have you heard this podcast? Let's sit in silence and listen to it and then talk about it tomorrow. Like, so inviting back those inconveniences, because on the other side, yes, it's a demand, but it's also connection, but acknowledging that you can't get one without the other. And also acknowledging that like, well, why would you even want that?
Right. No, it's hard because I think there is this like longing for deeper connections and for, like I find myself just thinking back to college and I'm like, those relationships were, and those are still my best friends, but it was so easy because they lived in the same building as me and we just went upstairs and said hi to each other and it didn't matter what mood we were in. It didn't matter what, we had going on. Like if I had to run to get a coffee, my friend would come with me. Now it's like, I have a husband, I have things, I have like, there are so many obstacles. I have to respond to a text message. It just feels harder. But then I find that like I'm lonelier or I'm just, I want that friendship more. But I'm just like, I think like making adult friendships is so difficult, especially like you said, with all these new inventions and the fact that we do treat it in this robotic kind of way.
Yeah, and I think it's just a learned skill. I was actually reflecting on that, how for me, because my life just became so optimized. Like after my second baby girl,
Yeah.
if it couldn't come to my house, I didn't want
Forget
it.
it.
The gym, my nails, hair appointments, food, groceries, ant traps. I'm like, I need it to be delivered to my house. I need like maximum productivity. I need maximum to save time. And then I was maximally lonely. I was just
Yeah.
so incredibly lonely. And you don't really realize how much those encounters at the grocery store fill you up in a different way. Those small and social encounters that you kind of like look over as meaning nothing, they're actually like really meaningful. And I think it's such a great example that you gave of college. But if we looked at it instead, like my sister has a quote that I love so much, which is like, choose your hard, right? So in life, there's no easy path, right? So you can make friends because you are living with people constantly, like, and nothing creates human connection like shared stress. And so that's what college provides, shared stress,
Yeah.
right? We're doing this thing that we don't really want to be doing on someone else's schedule,
Yep.
forced to learn things that we don't necessarily want to know. We're having to pay to do all these things. But the bonus is that I have all these people around me that can make the experience a little bit more fun and that we can try to find the enjoyment in it. So it's like, would you rather be back in college where it's easy to make friends because you have natural shared stress and you have proximity? Or would you rather the hard of getting to do what you love for a living, being with your husband who you absolutely adore, living in a house that doesn't have a bunch of roommates that you have never met before, you
Yeah.
guys moved in together, and then having to send that meme to somebody else? So
Yeah.
like, what hard would you rather? Like, there
Right.
really isn't any easy path to these things, but we have to just acknowledge again, like that radical inconvenience and the challenges that come with it. And then we may have to be just as regimented, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the benefit of college is that it creates a system of accountability for you. So having to create that own system for yourself. Like it's been a year since I've tried to like actively make friends. And I can tell you like I'm better than I was a year ago, but I'm definitely not like me and my girls went to Cabo. Like I don't have that. So it's like baby steps, but I'm definitely getting better.
And I think it's hard to like also, like I said about college, like the just how natural it was, like when you show, you could show up in any capacity, like, you know, just not dressed in a bathrobe, like just stressed, happy, angry, heartbroken. Now I think like when you see people so seldom or just infrequently, you feel this pressure to show up at 100%. And if I'm not at 100%, I'm going to cancel. If I don't feel like myself, if I feel a little run down, if I feel this, if I feel that, it's hard to show up in those like natural ways that do create connection. Like you said, like shared stress, like commiserating, all of that. You feel like, oh, this is like their one snapshot of me. I have to like show up in a certain way. And I feel like for me, what was so alarming, I'll never forget, Instagram was down one day. And I was like, not only is my career going to be very affected by this, but the amount of relationships that I have like via DM that we only DM here and there and we like each other's pictures and we did that, whatever. I don't even have those people's numbers. Like all of those relationships would just be gone. And I was like, are those even real relationships? Like it's so weird, like if someone in someone's life dies. Like I had this girl who I have like this parasocial relationship with on Instagram, and someone in her life passed away. And I was like, I gotta text her or something. Like, my God, like, well, you know what I mean? But I don't even have her number. It's like this weird thing where you feel like you have this friendship, but then you realize you really don't. So it's weird. Like I feel like you can relate that to dating, even like taking it off the apps. Like it's so hard to move a friendship from online to in person, I find at least. So I want to talk to you about another thing that I saved, bookmarked, sent to friends, was so excited about, was this idea of a roller coaster versus push cart analogy that you give for relationships. And I've never heard it talked about like that, where it was so relatable. And I felt like, yeah, like, because I've been in a relationship for 11 years now, married for 2. And it is this, I feel like, yes, exactly. I feel like it is this weird thing that people that are in long-term relationships are scared to talk about, the fact that it's not the same as when you first started dating someone, because you think that's inherently bad that it's not the same, but it's not. So can you explain that analogy?
Yeah, it basically comes from the scientific theory that love starts off as passionate, and there's an evolutionary purpose for that, right? Like, in order for our species to survive and thrive, number one, we have to duplicate ourselves. But so that's important for romantic partnerships. But secondly, too, it's power in numbers, right? Humans don't swim the fastest, we don't climb the highest, we don't run the fastest. Like, we're not very strong. So our only real chance of surviving in the wild, and that's, the majority of human history was spent in the hunter-gatherer days, was through community building, was through bonds. And so being in a partnership, it's interesting now, like you even gave that example of when we feel a new relationship feels more like a burden than it does like comfort. But you might already have your initial safety circle set, so your brain doesn't require that same tribe. But a lone ranger is one of the most dangerous things a human can be, right? So, and a romantic pairing is an extremely powerful pairing because that person is invested in your well-being in a much more severe way, because maybe in theory you're going to be bearing their children. These are all hypothetical things. I'm not saying that anybody has to have kids, but just from your evolutionary brain, like these are the reasons why we're motivated to be in love. So your brain wants this to happen. And in essence, what it's going to do is when it sees that you have a chance of making a pair bond with somebody, it is going to incentivize you. So it's going to dump a bunch of neurochemicals into your brain to make it fun, exciting, desirable, and above all else, more desirable than doing anything else, more desirable than seeing anybody else. Like it has to create the only have eyes for you in order to move the bond from passionate love to companionate love. And once love goes to a companionate state, your serotonin levels are synced, your sense of normalcy is linked with that individual, your sense of safety is linked with that individual. It's also an explanation as to why people in abusive relationships often go back to their abusers, is because when you are in a state of fight or flight, you want to go get close to your community, get close to those who you have the companionate relationship. And your brain has a very difficult time deciphering when the source of danger is also the source of comfort.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
anyways, your brain really wants to get you to this stage where you now rely on this person to feel normal, to feel homeostasis. So, like I said, when you first get into the relationship, you are on the roller coaster. Your brain is like, woo, dopamine, adrenaline, norepinephrine, like serotonin spikes. Like, let's make this party get started. And so you're around that person and you don't have to try, right?
Yeah.
You just see them and on site, your body starts triggering
Totally.
arousal. You get the butterflies in the stomach. You get that like intense longing and craving for them. When you're with each other, the whole world melts away. This intense sense of curiosity, wanting to get to know that person, staying up until 4 a.m. having those conversations. And then once your brain is like, oh, I think this has worked, let's shut all this down. And now we're going to move into the more secure, settling, comfortable, companionate part of love. And one of my favorite fun facts about this shift is, as much as this is kind of seen as a dreaded thing, like the end of the honeymoon stage, truthfully, if you remained in the honeymoon stage for the rest of your life, it would drastically shorten your life expectancy. Because what comes with the honeymoon phase is adrenaline spikes, which damages your tissue, damages your heart health, and in addition, it causes poor sleep and loss of appetite. So, like when you think of like the symptoms of falling in love, they don't necessarily like correlate with like wellness and like a life well
It's
lived.
like a panic
So
attack. Like
it's a panic
yeah.
attack. Yeah, your body is inducing you into a panic attack in order to give you this like rush of excitement to
Yeah.
build this connection with somebody. So I think what happens in a relationship, to the roller coaster push cart analogy, is when you first get into a romantic relationship, you just sit in the roller coaster, you strap in, and you just throw your hands up and you enjoy. You don't have to do anything. And then once again, you've had that roller coaster a few times. Your body's like, cool, you guys like sitting beside each other? You like this? All right, we're going to send you to the parking lot now. And now you get pushed to your push cart and you're expected to like figure it out now. Now you guys have to drive it. You have to decide how fast you want to go, where you want to go together. And if you want to get that feeling back, you have to make the conscious effort to like drive back to that theme park together. And get on the same page with that. And also not expecting that you're going to just wake up one day on the roller coaster again.
Right.
So all of those things I think people can think of in a negative way. I think of them as freedom. Because as much as you want to, reminisce and mourn over that loss of like, oh, I just want to jump your bones. I can't wait to have you. I need you right now. Imagine it's April 14th and you haven't submitted your taxes yet and you sit your partner down. You're like, we need to go over this now. And they're like, ugh, Jade, I just can't get enough of you. And you're like, no, we're not. We
Totally.
got to focus on life right now. And they're like, I just can't. Like, you're just so ravenous to me. I can't stop myself. So we think and we yearn for this in like very convenient settings. But as our life gets more dynamic and more full, freedom is so much better, so much sexier, so much harder, but so much more rewarding.
It's so crazy when you're talking about this. Like, I haven't thought about that chapter in so long. Like, when I was first, with my husband, and like when we were first dating, I remember so vividly how uncomfortable, like how fun, of course, and it's like you're aroused all the time, and it's like sex, sure, 4 times a day. We were having sex every day for like 2 years, I want to say. And I do remember though, because there was so much uncertainty with it, I didn't know like if he loved me back. We were like all of those things. There's so much uncertainty. I do now. I just had this flashback. I remember being like, I can't wait till we get to that comfy phase, till we are like, we've said the I love yous, we're like married, we're committed, whatever. Because it was, as fun as it was, like my brain did translate that to panic, stress. Like it didn't feel comfy and it was fun. And I think like when we look back and why there's that rhetoric of like wanting to get back there so badly is because I think the arousal thing, especially for women, you're like, oh, I want that back. Where like anytime they wanted sex, I wanted it too. But you don't remember the like waiting for the text, like the like, oh my God, is he on the same page as me? Is he seeing other people? Like it is so fucking stressful like that time. You're right. Like I do not wish to go back there. Like as you're talking about it, I'm like gonna break out in hives. I'm like, it was stressful, right?
100%. It's so funny when you put it into those contexts of just remembering it. And in early romance, we have lust, but we try to make love. And then later on, we have love, but now we have to make the lust. And going back to choosing your heart, I think I'd rather make lust than try to make love. Making
Totally.
love is really hard and scary and stressful. And also, there's like a little bit of the sunk cost fear of, well, if I invest in this, is it going to repay back? There's other things too. Like I remember I was very against angry sex and I couldn't even attempt angry sex because if there is a potential for the relationship to be breached or broken, I'm so concerned about that that I really want to hyper focus and fixate on that. I don't want to, glaze over it. I don't want to forget. I want to like remember every detail of the feeling and work through that in real time or when we're both able to come to the table. But I do not want us to like skate over this and, have sexy time and then kind of forget at what the genuine heart of the issue is. Like I want to solve it.
Me
And
too.
like maybe like last year, I kind of realized I'm like, none of these fights are ending with the end.
Yeah.
Like if myself and my husband broke up, it's not going to be because of a fight.
Right.
It's going to be because of like months and years of every day there being a shift in how we feel. There's never going to be an argument that
Right.
ends all things. So I'm like, with that in mind, I can take the momentum of anger and translate that into sex. I can roll with it because, well, it's arousal. You still
Yeah.
feel it. Like, so the thing with angry sex is the scientific explanation is arousal confusion. So when you are horny, your breath gets shortened, your pupils dilate because you're hyperfixated, you have an increased amount of blood, your face might get flushed and hot, right? You feel like ready to move at any moment, you have heightened sensitivity on your skin. All of those things also correlate to when you're horny. So arousal confusion can happen because you're yelling and you're this and you're that, and you're looking at each other and you're so focused, and then somebody moves in for a kiss and then your body's like, cool, we're already ready, so might as well.
Wow.
But if you obviously have that block in your mind of like, no, I will not do this, I don't feel safe. And the only way for a lot of people, especially women, that we feel a pathway to intimacy is through safety. And so if you don't feel safe, it's hard to feel a desire to be sexual. But I feel safe in my relationship. And an argument over dishes or whatever else is not going to change that core feeling. So yeah, I can do angry sex now. So that's one of the perks, I guess, of
That is a
getting
major perk.
past.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like my husband, like I absolutely could not feel safer. Like truly, like he is. I am a Lone Ranger kind of person. Like I'm my therapist and I like to call it my island, and it's hard for me to let people on my island. Like when I'm going through something, I'm not a consensus seeker. I don't want to talk about it. So like he's really the only person on my island with me, and I think when I'm in a fight, it took me until I want to say like even 5 years ago. Every time we fought, I was like, okay, what's my life like single? My instinct is to take him off my island immediately because like that's where I feel safest is like on my own, doing my own thing. So I think like that's I think the next level for me to be able to bridge that gap between arousals is like I need to remind myself like that I'm safe, I'm fine, like he's still on my island even over like a small dispute. But like I'm so programmed to be like okay, no, it's just me now, and it's so hard for me to connect in that moment.
Well, it's however. It's just
Yeah.
like really and truly like, have you ever tried to build a fire before?
No, I can't
Like
say I
an
have.
actual fire from scratch? It's like
No.
so hard.
It looks
It's
hard.
so hard,
Yeah.
but it takes a lot of focus and like kind of luck.
Yeah.
And when you get an ember going, you have to really like, now is the time.
Right.
We got to fan this shit. We got to shield it from the wind. Like we have to blow like at a certain angle in order to create a flame, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think about that in relationships that when you're in a long-term relationship and you're doing so many wonderful things together and you have this multi-dynamic life that doesn't really suit being constantly horny for each other, when you do get an ember, you have to both be on the same page of like,
So true.
let's start fanning the shit. Like,
Hmm.
I just think about myself and my husband are really good at that of like, no, we got to work on this. We got to like, we have a little spark, whatever it is. It's a pang of jealousy, if it's a little bit of
Hmm.
anger, if it's a look that we shared for a moment, if it's a sexy, movie we watched together, like we have
Totally.
to be like, oh, are you feeling this? Like, let's keep the momentum going. Because I love that. Don't get me wrong. I actually think that I was on a podcast last year and I was kind of going through like a really hard time.
Mm.
Like the summer is usually really hard. It's very hard for parents because your kids are like
Yeah.
not in school.
Right.
So not only do you have the additional work of childcare, it's like the cleaning is like
Totally.
insane. And you can only clean when they go to bed because they're constantly creating a new mess. So
Hmm.
at the end of the day, we like had nothing in the tank for each other. So there was like a month or two, it was just really kind of hard to connect. And to be honest with you, I don't think there's a solution to that. We just
Hmm.
like some things are finite, right? Like time is finite to a capacity. So it was like, I think I was like, you don't really, that like sort of, I need to have you, that like butterflies in your stomach, that, that person just makes you swoon, like that quick orgasm, whatever it
Hmm.
is that you define it as, is like kind of that reminiscent feeling of back in the day when it just felt so easy. I'm like, you don't have to have that anymore. You can still have good sex that's routine sex, that
Yeah.
is just normal sex, that is like because we said so sex, or because we're both know it's good for our relationship sex. You
Hmm.
don't have to have that spontaneous, ravenous sex
That's so
as
true.
a part of like your normal relationship. But now I'm like kind of swept. I'm like, no, I love that shit.
Yeah.
Like, I love it.
Yeah, I know and I feel like back to like what you were talking about with, acting on it. Like the other day I had a sex dream, right? About my husband. And I was really hungry when I woke up also, right? I was like, I just woke up. I had this sex dream about him. I looked over at him and I also looked at my phone and I was like, I could really easily, Uber Eats something right now, or I could turn over and act on this arousal that I already have. And I was like, okay, this is the moment, like where you decide like to invest it. So I was like, okay, we're going to eat later, and we're going to just act on this. It's like, it really is like a 2-second thing where you like have to make this decision to act on your arousal, to act on that impulse, because that is, especially in relationships, it's like sometimes you're not going to be on the same page, and sometimes one person's going to be in the mood, sometimes the other person's not. And I feel like when you're both, you lean in and you're like, oh, it feels so good. Like those first few moments where you're like both like, okay, we're going to go for this ride. You're like, okay, thank God. Like, let's go. And you're always happy you did. It's just like getting there sometimes, and switching brain modes is interesting. I love that you talk about the way you talk about monogamy and the monogamy versus monotony. Can you explain that?
Yeah, so I actually did a paper during my master's that was, is monogamy natural? And I expected to find that it wasn't natural. And so that's the thing is, so even though the vast majority of mammals are non-monogamous, I think like less than 10%, if not even like less, I have to like check the stat, that might be like even less than 5% are monogamous. And even those who are monogamous, they're only monogamous like up to 80% of the times, which means that there is still some like, they'll say that in any bird's nest, if there's 4 eggs, one of the egg will be from a different dad.
Oh,
So,
interesting.
and that's a way of actually ensuring genetic success because just say the father has some type of ailment, you want to have some variety in your
Right.
offspring in case there's like a reoccurring, chronic illness or something.
Okay.
So it's actually strategic, even if you are monogamous, to like have some variety as well too. But that to be said, the paper that I researched was like, no, humans are largely designed to be monogamous cross-culturally, despite how much access that person has or that culture has to like the main hub of society. Monogamy prevails. Monogamy is actually very adaptive for humans because we are super bonders and because cooperation is our superpower. If you are mating with somebody else's mate, that creates jealousy and rivalry within the community. So monogamy is very integral in order to maintain peace among a small hunter-gatherer group. And then it was even talking about things like testicle size to brain size, how other mammals, like their testicle size is like twice the size of their brain, whereas humans, our brain is much larger than the testicles. So
Thank God.
all of
Could you
these things
imagine?
point to, I know, all of these things point to the fact that like, yeah, monogamy overall is very normal and desired by most. Now, not everybody is going to be monogamous, and you can argue if the humans who are non-monogamous are more adaptive or if they are maladaptive, but
Mm-hmm.
those variations exist. But that to be said, even if monogamy is natural,
Mm-hmm.
monotony is not.
Mm-hmm.
And monogamy is one person for life or one person at a time. Monotony is the same thing every single day.
Mm.
So we can be with the same person. That is very human, that is very adaptive, but being with the same human and doing the same things over and over again, never introducing new, never introducing spontaneity or novelty is not normal. And we can say that with great confidence because if you have a pet, you observe your pet. Once your pet's basic needs are met, they're like, cool, is there like a patch of sun I can just lay down
Mm-hmm.
in? Like, I'm good, like, give me my
Totally.
treats, like, I'm happy. Give me my treats and my walk. But humans, once we have all our basic needs met, we're like, can I build a spaceship? Like, the
Right.
iPhone, which is a perfect product, has like 20 variations.
Yeah.
Why did you have to update that thing? It was incredible. You can
Mm-hmm.
access the world, send a nuclear bomb, close your garage, call your grandma with one device, and it's
Right.
continuously updating. So humans thrive for expansion. They thrive to
Mm.
learn, to expand, to grow. And that doesn't change just because you're in a romantic partnership.
Oh, I love that. That's so interesting. Yeah, that brings me to another question, which is because I think that's so true. But I think in a long-term relationship, you do get into patterns, right? You're having sex in the same way a lot of the time. You're having sex at the same time, whether you're a morning person or a night person, or your foreplay looks the same. And I think something that's hard is like, how do you tell your partner you want to try something new or introduce something new in bed without sounding dissatisfied.
I think you do it with a yes and attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you love something so much, like if you love food so much, it's natural that you're going to want to try new places.
Yeah.
Like, I love the food that we're having. And would it be cool to try that Chinese food spot down the road? Like, I think often when we have the conversations around sex, it comes from a place of lack. Like, oh, I
Mm.
have to talk about sex with my partner and explain to them, like, why that sound they're making is not doing it for me. And
Right.
you're like, well, there might have been five other things that you did like. And so if the sex conversation is just kind of like a normal part, like if I go to a restaurant, I'm going to comment afterwards on the food. I'm going to talk about the things that I'm interested in trying on Uber Eats in the morning. It's just going to be a natural part of our dialogue because it's a part of my life. So similarly, if you weave in talking about sex more, talking about what you want more will not come across abnormal. And again, it has to come from that yes and standpoint. So if you haven't done that yet, just start with the yes. Like, oh my gosh, you really were on it last night. That was amazing. Yes. Like, oh, that kiss was so good. I had a dream last night about you and me. Like, you put it down last week and I can't stop thinking about it. Little text here and there, right? And do that for like a week or two and then add in the and,
I
right?
like
And then
that.
it's going to be like, oh, we already have this great thing and there's more. I will say too, there's a quiz on my website, which is called Lovers by Shan, but it's called the Great Sex Quiz, but it's acknowledging that the and is not the same for everybody. And I think that great sex, I used to think that great sex had to do with pleasure. Now I think that really great sex has to do with freedom. And sex is the only place where all of you gets to belong. Every smell, every sound your body can make, every thought you can have, all of your identities. You're completely naked in almost every aspect of the word if you're able to do it, I think, right? It can be a place of total acceptance. If I can bring all of me genuinely and bear all of you in front of you and you accept and want that, like that's a level of acceptance that you can't get anywhere
Totally.
else. But in order to get to that place, you need to really center freedom. And there's freedom to, which is what most people think of. Freedom to love who you want to love, have sex with who you want to have sex with, just regardless of gender, sexual orientation. And then there's freedom to explore, freedom to try BDSM, freedom to be tied up or bring food in the bedroom. And that's, I think people stop there. There's also freedom from, and freedom from is such a huge importance because you will never get to have free sex if you only have sex from the lens of, okay, I am a straight woman who lives in the Midwest, who grew up going to a Catholic school. I must have sex like this. I mean,
Totally.
that's a million times for a man who's like, I am a straight man who is a father and a husband. there are 4 things I'm able to do sexually. And if you can't free yourself from the societal expectations and scripts in order to really embrace your own individual humanity, sex will never be a truly fulfilling place for you.
Wow.
And in fact, you might actually look at having sex with an intimate partner as more dangerous than having sex with a complete stranger, because you have to uphold your identity during sex. Versus if you're with a stranger, that's kind of like the airplane effect. You can like actually be honest about yourself. So creating a setting where people can really genuinely not just be themselves, but free themselves is important. And the last freedom is freedom not to. Anything in life, the only way that you get excellent is by getting excellent at saying no. And your yeses can be emphatic, juicy, joyful yeses if you can say no when you really aren't into it. And that no can be something that you offer on a Tuesday or that you're offering for the next 6 months, right? So knowing that you have the freedom to opt out at any stage of a relationship and feeling that you're with people who champion those no's, even champion them for yourself, I think is a huge part of having a great sex life.
You said something so revolutionary. You said your answer was even controversial online, but you said that there is no magical number for how often you should be having sex. It should be as much as the person who wants it the least wants it. Please
Yes.
explain that. I think that is so fascinating.
Well, I would love if you explained it. What does that mean to
Yeah.
you?
Okay, so to me, I mean, I think it's like some people would be like, well, I think none, or whatever. But I think it's actually analyzing the way that you're having sex and why that person's number would be 0 or 1 or 2. Right? Like it's like, okay, so if the
Yes.
person who wants it least, who's enjoying it the least, or who gets the least payout from it, because clearly there's a pleasure discrepancy there. I feel like it's like, okay, you have to actually look at the kind of sex you're having and why that person's number is lower than yours, right? Okay.
There's 3 types of desire. There's spontaneous desire, which we
Right?
talked about, which is the roller coaster effect. Then there is responsive desire. And then there's, I would call, compassionate desire. So most people in long-term relationships will experience responsive desire, which means, again, it's very hard to go from tax mode to porn
Totally.
mode. So you
Dinner
might
to
need
sex is
five
hard for me.
minutes
Yeah.
Yeah, dinner to sex is hard, right?
Yeah.
Like those are hard transitions. It's a very
Yeah.
different part of your brain, your mind, of your connection. So you have to commit to having sex and you're going to find 10 minutes in, like, oh, now I'm into it. So
Totally. It
you're
happens
not going
every
to be
time.
like, I want this right now, but you're going to make a commitment to do it because you have respect and safety with your partner. You enjoy having sex with them. You know the benefits of sex, both from a physiological perspective and also from an intimacy perspective of strengthening the relationship. So you decide to do it, and then desire kicks in about midway
Okay.
through. People liken this to the gym a lot. You never want to go to the gym, but
Yeah.
often when you're there, you're like, oh, okay, this isn't so
Totally.
bad. And then when you leave, you're always like, yes, thank God I went to the gym.
Yeah.
And then the last one I think is compassionate desire, which in essence accounts for the fact that there are many ways in which we are, pleased by or serviced by our partner, for lack of a better term. But in essence, when you have a partner who is like going above and beyond for you and meeting your needs and really like just doing the most to make your life a little bit easier, there might be times where you're like, I'm not personally into it, but I would love to do this for you. You
Yes.
want to do it, it makes you happy. There have been many times that you have done things that you didn't want to do in order to make me happy, so I'm happy to do this for you. Let's just call this the hand job desire
Yeah.
or the
Right,
blowjob one.
exactly.
I'd be happy to give you a blowjob. I'm not really
Yes.
interested right now, but damn it, you've been really killing it for me, so like I'm happy to do this for you. I think in a lot of relationships, people who balk up against the idea of the person who wants it the least determines the number is because they're relying on compassionate desire to fuel their sex life. Like, well, I want it, you should do it for me because I want it. But the other ones take work. I mean, they all take
Yeah.
work, right? Because a lot of people who want compassionate desire are not actually even servicing their partner in other ways. They just have
Right.
an expectation of what a lover is supposed to do, what your natural
So
obligation
true.
is supposed to be like. But the truth of the matter is, you're right. If you want to know why my number is 20 and your number is 100, then you have to really realize, okay, well, what is happening for you? What's happening for me that's not happening for you? And
Yeah.
how do we do more of those? How do we change our routine? How do we change the way we have sex, how we have it? What type of things we do? Do we go back to the freedom framework in order to really reimagine our sex life so that you are more excited to do it? Then we could talk about responsive desire, right? Because even responsive desire, it requires me to like the sex at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe I'm not interested in doing it off the top, but at some point I have to turn over and say, I'm happy to be doing this, not
Right.
just I'm happy it's over. So I think that people are fearful of it because they're afraid of the work. And I don't completely fault them for that. We live in a society where there's so much pressure to be good at sex, but zero instruction or education. So
Yes.
that puts people at a really impossible place, especially men.
Yeah, and people are so afraid to ask each other. There's so much pride involved. So I think ideally what you're saying, tell me if I'm wrong, is ideally in a long-term relationship, you have all three of those types of desire at different times, right? Like at some points it's going to be compassionate, sometimes it's going to be that spontaneous arousal sometimes. So like you never have just one of those consistently.
Yeah, I would say ratio wise, you'll
Yeah.
probably have responsive the most. And then maybe compassionate and spontaneous might be about equal,
Yeah.
right? I know that I'm very compassionate on my period. Like that's
Yeah.
usually my time for like compassionate sex of some
Yes.
capacity, or there could be other times. And then again, like that spontaneous desire is a bit more difficult to come by of like that magical electric moment where all things align. You want
Mhm.
me, I want you, and we're actually in a setting and within our dynamic of our relationship where we can act on it. Like you woke
Yeah.
up in the morning and had that feeling towards your husband. I'm sure there's been times that he's like walked by, at your parents'
Totally.
house and you felt it, but you're like, this is not the time, right? So,
100%.
and then later on, you guys are driving home. Now you're exhausted and you're bloated from your mom's chicken pot pie.
Yes.
So that isn't the time either. But I think that like that little magical moment where you want me, I want you, and now is the time, like that
Yeah.
is rare. So responsive is probably going to take up the bulk of them. But again, responsive sexual desire requires both people to actually be enjoying the sex. And
Mhm.
I think a lot of people are afraid to find out the answer to that question. And like anything else, like that's kind of the scariest part because the
Mhm.
fun part is figuring out how do you make it better, which is really fun.
Right.
But the fact that you have to make it better because people see that as a failure or as an identity crisis, I think that's why they refrain from even asking those questions.
Yeah.
It's work. And for some
Mhm.
couples, it's more work than others, but there's so much reward on the other side if you're willing to go through that exploration process.
It's kind of like the most important work you can do, and like so much unlearning and deprogramming and yet not looking to the left and right of you, but like really investing in that it doesn't necessarily come as naturally as you think sometimes, like that there is some work involved. I think people like are so afraid to use those like sex and work together. It should never have to be that hard. We shouldn't have to try. But it's like it's not it's a different definition of work. Like it's like when you say like marriage is hard. It's like it's not like it is painful every day and it's terrible. It's just you're combining two belief systems, two arousal types, two, you know, I don't know, like just two people and two different sets of desires, and it is that's it's just like like picking up what each other's putting down and reading each other's arousal language or love language. I really
Yeah,
loved this
100%.
conversation. I loved this so much, Shan. Thank you so much. Next time we're going to do this in bed, not just together, but in bed together.
Deal. That's 100% of a deal. Maybe we'll bring our
Yes.
partners and we'll just have a little orgy.
Please, God, I would love nothing more. I truly would love nothing more. Well, thank you, and I'll see you soon, hopefully in person.
I agreed.
Thank you, you too. Bye.